To the April 20th, 2022 Ways and Means meeting. Please rise for a pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, looks like we do not have any public for participating tonight, so we'll get right into it. Our first article is Article 8, the acceptance of Chapter 90 funds. Is someone speaking about that?
This is the hot seat.
Excellent, come on up. Introduce yourself, please.
Tom Hayes, I'm the town engineer. So, we have from the state, let's see what we have for money from them. Every year we receive an allocation, this Chapter 90 program. This year it's $1,090,837.
Very good.
Move to approve?
Explanation?
Sure.
What is Chapter 90 for?
Any discussion on this?
So,
Frank?
thank you, Mr. Chairman. No sidewalks are in that, right? It's all roads?
We typically dedicate this for all roads. Well, the money's all commingled.
No, but that's how we intend to use it.
Yeah,
You've got your hit
absolutely.
list,
Yeah,
and you've got the usual program.
Mhm.
And we have a sidewalk separate on the lawn, this cycle, right? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else?
Second.
Thank you. All right, we need to do a roll call. I'll be doing it alphabetical by last name, just so you,
We gotta remember
just to
our
shake
last-
things up a little bit.
That's not the case, you got used to something.
Brad? Yes. Chris is not here yet. Doug?
Yes.
No Phil. Mike? This to Chapter 90 funds.
Oh, accepting. Accept.
Very good. Frank?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. That's 12-0-0. All right, Article 9, the MWRA debt service for inflow and infiltration. Who's speaking on this tonight?
We talked about it.
I see John Sanchez is there. Are you speaking on this, John?
Don't you go to the
I
subcommittee first?
am. Typically, this is just to pay back the loans that we have. So it's the money we owe the authority for the portion that is a loan.
I'm sorry.
Don't you ask the subcommittee first?
Thank you. We have a subcommittee on this.
Sorry.
Roger thoughtfully pointed out I omitted that.
We approved this 2-0. It's $77,975,000. I'm sorry, $77,975. And just for continuity's sake, it's an annual article. We have 3 different 10-year loans right now. It's a 0% interest, and we actually get 75% of what we borrow back as a grant. We pay 25% over 10 years. And the money is encumbered from the sewer I&I fund at the time that town meeting votes to take the loan. So it's not a tax impacting payment. It's something that's already encumbered and set aside.
Did you have a vote on that?
2-0.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I caught in the backup somewhere that we're expecting less revenue from the commercial side on input to this. So we're gonna fund more of it from our own residual monies that are in the account. Am I right?
Sewer.
That's a
That's
sewer
sewer.
enterprise fund. right.
Okay, when we come to that, we'll talk about that, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just to point out for the committee that the funds are used to prevent clean water from getting into the sewer system. Inflow, I usually get them confused. Infiltration is sort of like what happens naturally, and inflow is sort of like illegal connections to the sewer system, so.
Keep our sewers as dirty as they're meant to be.
Move to
Anything else?
approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, Brad?
Gotta be quicker with the unmute button. Yes.
Well done. Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. That's 12-0-0. All right, Article 10 is the Sewer Enterprise Fund. Do we have a subcommittee report?
We do. So this is what you were talking
Yeah.
about, Frank. So it's $6,271,100 transferred from the Sewer Enterprise Fund to pay the sewer bill. This is an annual thing. Generally, revenue from the water bills covers our sewer bill. Due to COVID, businesses weren't using as much water, and so they paid less in water bills than normal. It's about 10% reduction in commercial revenue. And so we'll have to make that up. So $5,970,000 of the total $6.2 million will come from the current water bills as expected. Then we have $301,100 that'll come from retained earnings from past years. And we supported 2-0.
Yeah. So my question relative to that is, how much money is in this residual? Where is this coming from? It's revenues that were collected and just not needed to cover the whole enterprise costs?
Yes, Frank. So we did the same thing last year. We encumbered about $591,000 last year to do this similar as we're doing this year. At the end of the year, there'll be a plus minus. So sewer, because it's an enterprise fund, also has a free cash, if you will. It's really a retained earnings. So it's whatever was left over based on what we collected versus what we paid out stays in that fund and gets certified by the DOR the same way free cash does. So we started this year with just under 2.1 million, and that includes reserving that's net after the reservation of the 590,000 for this year.
So there's quite a bit in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we anticipate more money going out next year? As things get back to normal?
I think that's the hope.
Do we see anything in the first few months?
We can ask John to
I can take that if you, Mr. Chairman, John Sanchez here.
Yes.
So yeah, the last couple of years, because of COVID, we had this decline in revenue, but we expect that once we've recovered on both commercial and residential, we'll be going back with enough funds to actually continue to fund the enterprise and what we pay out of.
Okay.
Anything else?
Chairman, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Brad?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. That's 12-0-0. Okay, Article 11 is transfer to water stabilization. We have a
So-
subcommittee report?
So this is a transfer. If you remember, I believe in January town meeting, we transfer money into the Water Stabilization Fund from, when we did the MWRA project, we said that each year we would increase the water bill $10. And so it's 20, 30, 40, and that money gets put aside and goes into this Water Stabilization Fund, and that was to help pay for the capital project of connecting to the MWRA. So this is our transfer of $952,243. We ran into a little issue because we're definitely paying the MWRA debt service with this, but also we're having to purchase more water than was anticipated because of Pfas. So we're required to have the Lexington line open for the maximum 1 million gallons a day until Pfas is managed. And so that's that's more than we expected and budgeted for. So some of this money will go to help pay for that water purchase.
Did you have anything additional on that, John?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay,
And we approved 2-0.
excellent. Any comments?
Chairman, motion to approve. Oh,
Yeah, Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So on this subject, have we closed down the, what is it, the Great Marsh?
Vinebrook.
Vinebrook water treatment plant, is that?
So if I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
So, no, the Vinebrook treatment plant will remain operational until probably the end of 2023. Although we're producing very little water from it right now, since we're taking about 1 million gallons from the MWRA, that plant is mostly not run. Even last summer, we had a rainy summer, so we didn't use it that much. But if, depending on how the summer will go this year, we may have to run it a little more than what we did, because that plant used to run at 3 million gallons a day, and the pipe that we currently have open can only provide 1 million. Starting in 2023, once the MWRA line into Arlington is complete, we'll be able to pull like 3.5 million gallons from that line. So at that point, we can start plans to actually taking down that plant out of service. But for now, it will remain open for at least through 2022, and if not part, all of 2023 calendar.
Does it make sense to keep the plant open in any capacity, just in case we ever need to use it again?
So going forward, the plan was to actually abandon the plant. The plant is going to need work. It's like maintaining an old car. If you don't use it, it's really going to go bad on us. So my recommendation was throughout the time that we will abandon it. And we can't forget that that plant also has problems with Pfas, which we are not fixing since we're going to take it offline. So we're doing that. We're fixing the Pfas problem at the mill pond, but not at the Vinebrook. So if we were to want to keep it on the side, we still have to fix that other problem too. So my recommendation would be that once that we have capacity from the authority, that we abandon this plan.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Anything else?
Motion
motion
to
to
approve.
approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Brad?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. That's 12-0-0. Okay, Article 12, water usage due to PFAS. Subcommittee?
Subcommittee voted 2-0. It's $500,000, not to exceed $500,000. Unfortunately, this is covering a current year expenditure, again, because of PFAS. We didn't budget to buy 1 million gallons a day from MWRA, and so the operating budget for this current fiscal year does not include, it's 500,000 short for what we'll have to purchase. I believe that we may or have, John can tell us, gotten a grant for 150,000. Is that true? That's the hope, anyway.
Yes, so we get actually official notice. Thank you, if I may, Mr. Chairman, John Sanchez.
Yes, please.
We did get official notice that we will be awarded $150,000 from Mass DEP to cover some of these expenses. And this news just came out actually after we had applied for this article. So that's good news. We'll be able to reduce this line item. Again, it's a fraction, but it's still in a little help. So at the end of the day, we'll probably need about 350 instead of the 500.
Is this something we amend? I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Is this something that we would amend and just ask for 350, or?
Yes, we would ask for the correct amount in the actual motion at town meeting.
Okay.
And just to be clear, is this for FY22?
Yes.
Okay, so is there an expectation that has the budget accounted for this in FY23? Ms. Sanchez?
So this was closed out 2022, and as Doc said in the earlier transfer for the from the water stabilization fund, we are budgeting for the amount that we need for FY23. So we wouldn't need to do this again in the next fiscal year. Obviously, we hadn't budgeted for FY22, so we have to do it now. But for FY23, with the 952,000 that we're asking for, that should be sufficient to cover the expenses.
Thank you. Anything else?
David?
Just quick, the funding source is free cash. Right. This isn't out of one of the sewer accounts. This is free cash.
Mr. Chairman, do you want that motion at 350? Paul, do you want that motion from Ways and Means coming at the same one, or are we amending? Do you want us voting it at 350, or?
Can I interject, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
We did get the grant information, but I don't know how that works out, Paul, in regards to when we actually physically get those funds. So I don't know if we should go for the 500 and just utilize up to 500, just in
I think
case
that
we
would be
don't
a better
receive them.
way. In the event that the grant funding doesn't come into the subsequent fiscal year.
Correct.
Free cash. So let's roll back in.
Right.
Okay.
So I think you just answered my question, right? So if the grant comes in after the fiscal year, then you just put it credits basically out against.
Yes.
We still get it.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
Second. Thank you. Brad?
Yes. Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. That's 12-0-0. Article 13, borrowing for roads, municipal lots, and sidewalks. Do we have a subcommittee report?
Subcommittee voted 2-0. It's a $3.5 million borrowing article. This is something we do every other year, and it covers roads and sidewalks and town parking lots. This year it is $500,000 more than in the past, with the additional $500,000 dedicated to new sidewalk construction, which will mostly be filling gaps where it's, connecting two sidewalks where we just have an area without one, because $500,000 doesn't buy you much sidewalk, but it'll fill a few gaps.
Okay. And do we have a vote?
2-0.
Thank you. Who's speaking from DPW on this?
I think Doug stole my thunder, but we've been going back, I believe it was either 06 or 08, the town started funding money towards pavement management, and it's grown, it's grown from, I think, as little as 500,000 back then to now 3.5, and I've seen huge strides around town. I think the road's in really good shape, and all the new sidewalks and rehabilitation of sidewalks, so I think this is a great program.
Roger?
Thank you. Just an observation, the capital request form says 3 million. Apparently the warrant article says 3.5 million.
Is 3.5 million the correct amount?
The additional $500,000 was added to accommodate new sidewalks, and that was done.
That was a town meeting initiative through the sidewalk committee. We made a commitment to them that we would try to find a recurring funding source to provide more sidewalks in town, and this is, they very graciously awaited through the COVID era to allow us to this next borrowing. And so with the additional 500,000, it would be approximately 250,000 per year into new sidewalks.
Can I just add that the 3 million that's in the description was changed for the town meeting backup? It's just not the latest one on the Ways and Means site. So when you get your full backup, it's corrected in there.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching that.
I have a question.
Yes, Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we know which areas that we're going to target with this 500,000 in the upcoming year, or is this going to be treated like the roads where we'll get the list in the spring?
Well, this, typically when we are funded in the spring, goes to the following year, because all our projects are already lined up.
Funded, and actually some are underway right now. So I think over the course of this summer, we're gonna have to decide which sidewalks we're gonna build new.
Okay.
But there's, I think, plenty to choose from.
Yeah, and you'll have no shortage for quite some time.
Yep.
Frank?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So if we go back to the sidewalk improvement initiative, instead of just, trying to, I don't say willy-nilly, but sporadically just ask for some money, we created a program. We funded the program, and we're trying to fund it at $250 annually, but appropriate $500 every other year?
Yes. So of the 3 million, actually, 3.5 million,
Right.
it lasts for 2 years. 2 million goes into the roads, 500,000 into parking lots,
Right.
500,000 into the rehab of the existing sidewalks, and then 500,000 for new sidewalks.
How much, that would come to $1 million for sidewalks.
Well, the million has to last for 2 years. So 250 for rehab, like annually, 250 for new sidewalks and 250s for rehabilitation of existing sidewalks, but 250 doesn't go very far. So we
I
need,
understand. I'm trying to get the cadence of the debt service.
Every other year, we make a request on this pavement, sidewalk, parking lot
Right,
articles.
and the portion for sidewalks in that every other year thing is 500,000?
500 on new sidewalks, 500 on rehabbing sidewalks, Tom.
I see, so there's actually $1 million going towards sidewalks out of debt service every other year. Okay, that's a lot. I realize it doesn't go very far, because they're very expensive, maybe almost as much as the streets. Are these sidewalks, the fabrication or the construction determined by the program, or are you doing all concrete and curb?
it was set by the program by the selectmen. So there was gateway streets, which would be the, the gold standard, concrete and granite. And then we go into the secondary streets, which bituminous and granite.
Okay.
And then we go to bit on bit, which would be all bituminous on the lower used streets.
And that is all determined by basically a policy of gateway streets, secondary streets,
Yeah, it kind of follows.
existing.
Functional classification
Okay.
of the streets. So the main streets get the, more volume.
Right,
People
right,
driving more, they
right,
get
right,
the
right.
higher level.
But it's not up for debate. I mean, basically, this is policy now, and we're funding it.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Thank you. Brad?
Yes.
Chris?
Abstain.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes,
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And Vice Chair votes yes. Article 14, the sewer pump station at Partridge Lane. Do you have a subcommittee report?
Yes, I do. So this is a $1.1 million request to reconstruct the pump station on Partridge Lane. If you remember last year, we were asked to fund the design of the pump station, and now this year we're being asked to pay for the actual construction. I'm not sure the source. Is this borrow or free cash? Not sure yet.
This is free cash on this.
Free cash?
Yep.
Okay. And so, and then you'll see under Article 7, you'll see one to design the pump station that we'll be asking to repair next year. So these are in kind of a planned repair and replace before they break process. And we voted 2-0 to support.
Thank you.
So we have 14 pump stations in the system, and they all date back to the 1960s. So they're well beyond their service life. And in 2012, we did a full town-wide evaluation of all the pump stations, and we came up with a hit list, which initially we started small, and we took care of things that we could within the operating budget. But then as we come to these stations that are really in need of work, you can see for the last few years, we've had a kind of a system. 1 year, we'll ask for the design, next year we'll go for the construction. And so it's every year, pretty much, you'll see construction money and design money in the same year for different stations. We kind of push that along till we can take care of all these stations that need to be completely rehabilitated. So I think we have two more big ones left to go. and we'll be all the way through the system.
Any discussion? Frank?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for edification, so these stations, they're strictly for sewer lines, correct? And this is in situations where gravity, the area where the sewage is coming in is below the gravity of the line it's going to, so we pump up to the line?
So there's 14 stations in town, and so in low-lying areas, all the flow will go to the lowest point, and then we pump it over the next hill to go, sometimes we'll go to another pump station, sometimes we'll go to a gravity main, which will end up going out of town.
Okay, so in the end, though, all the sewage is actually all out of gravity lines? In the end, it all ends up in a gravity line?
Yes, it'll all exit through
All
Woburn.
right. And is there any stormwater that gets into this at all?
Well,
Other than the ionized stuff?
right, the ionized is the only, we have nothing that's connected, we don't have any combined system. So, and we've been pursuing ionized since 1986.
Right. So my question is for the stormwater, isn't there the same problem that some of it collects where it's below grade of where the stormwater drain or line is? And you have to get it up to the line?
Well, everything flows, we have 3 drainage subbasins in town, and everything flows to a stream that eventually flows, to a river that goes out to the ocean. So there's no place in town where we have like an impounded area that has to be pumped. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah, it does. There's just been, I've been hearing relentlessly now that we've got, collection of water from rain or whatever, and it's sitting, it's flooding, and the only way that can get out is through infiltration into the soil?
There are areas that are flood prone, but there are nothing I can think of that actually has areas that have to infiltrate into the ground, unless it's designed, like a detention pond might be designed to infiltrate, which would service a facility, wouldn't service a whole neighborhood.
Okay. That's probably a discussion for another day. Just, it seems like our stormwater in the low-lying areas is a problem where it can't get out fast enough.
Yeah, there are several areas in town that are flood prone, and that is a problem. It's just that, when it rains out, there's no place for the water to go.
And could you do a similar thing of having a pump station in those areas?
Where would you pump it, Frank? I don't think anybody would want it.
To a stormwater line.
Sorry. I'm speaking out of turn.
We just had a big meeting about this recently, and there are areas in town that just.
I think we should, I should
can go off topic
not go on this one.
We have an article for drainage that's coming up.
That would be fun to go to, but I shouldn't do that. So I see that these pump stations have a lifetime of 50 years, and we're rehabbing a bunch of them. There are 14 of them, so it'd be nice if they were evenly distributed over 50 years. They're not going to be,
Well,
because they got built largely at the same time, and we're repairing them kind of in a bunch.
yeah, kind of over 10 years or so, they were all built over the course of when the town was sewered. But they all don't fail at the same time because based on how much flow that station might get, might wear out sooner, how corrosive the soil is, what type of station is, what kind of station was designed there. So it all depends on many factors.
All right, so there might be another cluster in 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, I think we've got a program going forward to take care of the stations and keep them, and that's the whole thing, it's all about maintenance, it's all about, you don't wanna wear them out, you wanna fix them as you're going. If a pump has so many hours on it, you wanna rebuild that pump before it burns out, because that becomes an emergency.
And then I guess the other point to make is, normally, something of a lifetime of 50 years could be bonded, but we're going to choose to use free cash, so we don't put more on the bond schedule to save it for other big things that are coming along. Thank you.
How much commonality is there among these stations? We always have money to design the next pump station, and I'm just wondering, how many times, are they truly 14 different designs that we have to keep paying to get a new design each time, or what's the grid
There are
of
a
that?
few that are like, for example, Brookside and Westwood, almost identical in terms of stations. But, they're all similar, they're all cans, they're all steel cans. Some are lift, like Lexington's a lift station where it only brings it up like 10 feet, Some stations have, like, Terrace Hall has, I want to say it's like a 8,000-foot-long force main, so it pumps a couple miles. So they're all a little bit different based on, where they are. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. You really have to evaluate the station, what type of flow is coming in, what size pumps you need, the controls. And a lot of stuff is standardized. We have a standardized SCADA system. We standardize the pumps. The controls are all standardized. But it's not like you can, the station has to be evaluated. You have to design it and then build it. And the force mains and other, most of these have force mains associated with them, so it's you have to design that force main to go in the road now. Like, for example, Francis Wyman force main has broken 2 or 3 times. Half of it runs through the wetlands. So we're redesigning that into the roadway. So there's, I think the bulk of the money is probably in designing that force main.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Move to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Brad? Yes. Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And the vice chair votes yes. That's 13-0-0. Next is Article 18, fund the DPW contract. Do we have one?
Do we have one? Not yet, no.
Sorry, I meant to omit that one. That should be just withdrawn.
Very good. All right, we'll withdraw that for now.
Just, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just as a point of information, though, that's going to be covered with negotiated settlements regardless, right?
Yeah.
Which is already in the budget,
Already
so.
there.
Okay.
All right. Article 14, or Article 24, will of Marshall Simons.
No, we're not doing rec.
What's that?
I don't think we're doing rec this week.
Okay, that was on the agenda. Is that being delayed, Steve?
Yeah, that's my bad. I'll move it to next week.
I mean, it's accepting money, so it really
That one's easy,
doesn't
but
get.
we can do that one, but there's some
Probably
more.
not controversial, but we'll wait.
Yeah, I don't know why we would want to accept money. I really don't.
Can't be too careful.
Right.
I can predict our vote, but I don't want to report it.
We'll keep everyone in suspense to wait till next week on that.
We do have are we going to do this, we have 4 under 7.
Yeah, those are coming up.
Okay,
I'm just
sorry.
doing them in agenda order here.
Sorry.
Article 29, Sculpture Park. Who is that? Do we have a subcommittee that thought about that? Who are you thinking would subcommittee that, Steve?
Sorry, which one?
Sculpture Park, Article 29?
Oh, that's red.
Also pushed to next week, guys.
Rec.
Right. Yeah, that's you.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. None of our
Next-
rec ones.
next
We're
week.
meeting, we're meeting with Brendan next week.
Got it, sorry.
So, Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
as a forward-looking comment, I was curious on that when you talked about it in your you haven't done it in the subcommittee yet. I'm wondering if that is a CPA eligible project.
That was exactly my question.
It would be, but we don't have a CPA.
Right.
But it would be good to know.
A lot of time to get there.
Right.
And I think they're only asking for $20,000, so.
We'll address that one.
Well, you can discuss that when you meet with them.
Absolutely.
All right. Moving on to Article 7-1, the DPW Chestnut Hill Cemetery fence.
Yes. We do have a report.
Would you like to talk about this
I'd
one?
love to. It's a $20,000 request from free cash for repairing or replacing the Chestnut Hill Cemetery fence. It was in last year's budget, but was delayed to try to save some money. It's the example we gave when we were talking about the operating budget as something that probably should come out of a capital line just in the operating budget, but maybe Paul can give us some insight. There's some kind of rule somewhere that you can't ask for more than $15,000 in a capital line.
Yeah, that is in the town bylaws.
It's in the bylaws.
That's a bylaw. Okay.
Okay.
So we might want to think about changing that if that becomes too burdensome here.
Right, because like we saw in the operating budget, the capital line is very low because there's not any equipment that you can buy for $15,000. So we end up.
Maybe we can inflation index the bylaw.
Bump that up a little bit.
Sounds like we need to establish a committee to write the new bylaw.
We can turf that to ZBRC.
How sick
We
are you?
have one.
Robert.
So, but just a point about that, things being in the operating budget. The bigger the number is in the operating budget, it could have a larger impact on the percentage increase in the operating budget, whatever budget it's coming out of. So I don't know that we want really big items.
No, it doesn't need to be big, but I mean that.
Well, even 20K, right, could distort percentage-wise in a budget. So that's the other thing to keep an eye on is that if you push up capital things that may fit inside the budget, they still have to fit within the budget.
Sure. Yeah, just back to I mean, then we get questions about why is this a warrant article request when it's. You
I
know.
think what we've tried to do is do recurring capital to wherever extent possible within the department budget, because it should be similar from year to year in terms of what that investment is.
If I can follow up another couple of questions over there. The other thing, other reason for things to be in a warrant article is if we think that there should be input from town meeting on the subject. But this sounds like something that's kind of like facilities that should just be taken care of as a matter of due course.
Fixing a fence, yeah, maybe we can.
Can I ask for just a nutshell view of how the cemetery is funded? Is there a trust that when people purchase burial plots, it goes to fund maintenance in perpetuity?
John, you want to jump in on that one? Cemetery perpetual care?
Were you talking to me or the other John?
You, Mr. Sanchez.
Okay, thank you. So we have two separate accounts at the cemetery that we fund every time we sell a new grave. One is for perpetual care, and the idea is that we collect enough funds such that in the future, from whatever earnings we get out of that fund, we'll be able to maintain the cemetery. Unfortunately, that fund was not really being funded properly for many years. I think around 10 or 15 years ago, we started actually putting real money into that for it to be able to take care of itself in the future. There is some money there, but again, this is not enough to really care for the cemetery, and it would be smart to make it grow so eventually the cemetery can take care of itself. The second part is when we sell a grave is essentially sell lots of graves, and that goes into a separate fund that can be utilized to buy equipment, to do a fence, and what we've been doing with that particular account is we're letting it grow a little so we can do the next expansion of the cemetery as well as the new expansion of the columbarium. This part of the plan in which we have those funds growing so we can use it in the relatively near future. We're going to be having a columbarium for the next couple of 2-3 years. The one that we have is I believe, over 50% sold already. But those are the two funds that we have. We don't have them until we need it, but the last couple of expansions that we had in the cemetery, we did use the sale lots and grave fund to fund it.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to follow up with that, so the sale of graves account, we're going to do this fence from free cash, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you feel that the sale of graves account, you're trying to protect it, or there's not enough in it to cover this?
No, there's more than $20,000 there, Frank. It's just that when we put the new expansion for the columbarium, that's going to be in the hundreds of thousands. So if we start eating away at the fund, we won't have the money to do the expansion when we need to.
Okay. On the same topic, but a completely different cut, is this a wooden fence or metal or what?
Yeah, this is a wooden fence. If you look at the Chestnut garage, if you're facing the garage, it's the fence that is to the left and backward.
So.
It's L-shaped, and it is, it's being replaced.
So.
It's right away.
Well, And I assume it rots because it's wooden. Is that, I'm wondering why we don't put a metal fence in.
More money.
Yeah, but you only do it once.
Pressure treated lasts a long time.
There are a couple of reasons. We have some of the metal fences in some places in the cemetery. This one, the reason we're going for the wooden fence is because it provides screening to the neighbors, and in the back is where we have the spoils from the digging for the graves. So we don't really want that to be seen. If you did any type of bullet fence that you can see through, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Thank you.
Chairman, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Brad?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob? Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes. That's 13-0-0. Okay, Article 7-2 is the DPW stream cleaning, drainage, and repair.
Yes. So this is a $200,000 article. It's a every other year request, is that true? Or every year request? For stream cleaning, this is separate from what the Conservation Department does with their stream cleaning, which is more hand, people going through the stream and cleaning out debris. And this is the vac trucks cleaning out areas where sand has gathered and fixing culverts and things where the water needs to pass under a road or through a structure. And so I think they have, this is cleaning by Fairfax Street and then some drainage around Beacon and Winter. Is that what we talked about? Yeah. So again, there's a lot of talk right now about water and drainage, and this is a small part of it.
And did you have a vote?
2-0.
Anything from DPW?
No, I think Doug covered it.
Okay. Oh, Mike?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Can you just explain the equipment used, how that works, Tom?
So what we use for stream cleaning is a Vactor, similar to what you see cleaning out, sewers and catch basins around town. But the Vactors that these guys bring in are much bigger, much more powerful. They can suck sand 300 to 500 feet through a hose. So what they do is we've identified certain areas around town that have road sand in it. It's all sins from the past since we don't use road sand anymore. But the sand's accumulated, in the different streams around town, and some places it's pretty high and actually covers pipes, so that the side roads don't drain that well. So we have to put it off a bid, and they'll bring a piece of equipment in. They'll lay PVC pipes along the stream bed, and then shovel by shovel, they'll suck up sand out of the bed until you come down to the original hard bottom of that stream. And so it's all regulated through conservation. We have a permit through them, which allows us to go. We can't dredge. We can't go below the hard bottom, but we can take out any material that's accumulated in the stream.
So it requires people to be in the stream with shovels feeding the pipes.
Yeah, it's dirty and it's wet, and a lot of times it's very difficult because you have to block that stream up and bypass the flow. So it's a lot of work. It's I think we're paying like $100 a foot, $100 a linear foot to do it that way. It's very expensive.
And is it, the sand that accumulates, is it typically bunched in an area, or is it spread out and you have to really do like a whole stretch of the?
It migrates pretty far.
Yeah.
So it depends on the stream, depends on the flow. Sometimes it might be, 10 to 15 feet away from the pipe, from the head wall of a culvert or a discharge. Sometimes it goes like on adjacent to Susan Ave, it went all the way from back of Shaw's down almost to Rohannes Park, and it was like a beach. We spent $400,000 there cleaning that stream.
Is there a way to prevent that?
This is all from the past. It's anything that, all this road sand that was put out, now it's straight salt, so it doesn't cause a problem. But that sand's been put on the roads for 100 years. So I think we've got a handle on the big streams. We come across every now and then. We come across. That's why I think we started mixing and drainage repair, because we do less stream cleaning, and there are a lot of culverts out there that just have to be repaired. Those old metal pipes that have been in the ground, that just all rotted out, and so we do a little of this and a little of that.
Thanks.
Just one quick comment. Doesn't sound like the useful life of this is 50 years.
For stream cleaning?
Yeah. 10 or 15, maybe 20, but.
Well, I think once you get the bulk of the sand out of there, that's why we've been doing this since 2001, so it's been over 20 years. And we've had all the big streams. Every now and then we'll come across a stream that needs, like this year we'll do Fairfax. I got a few calls after we had the big rains this past weekend, and I think we might have a few more candidates that we'll put in the queue.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Brad?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes, that's 13-0-0. Okay, Article 7-3, Grandview Ave Pump Station Design.
So this is a request for $130,000 from free cash for the Grandview Ave sewer pump station design. And next year, they'll ask for money to actually do the construction, and so that's where we're at. This is the design money.
Anything from DPW?
I can repeat my spiel if you want.
A lot like the other pump station. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Brad?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes, that's 13-0-0. Article 7-4, DPW vehicle replacement. Doug?
Yes, so this is $593,000 from free cash to replace 4 vehicles. They are in the vehicle replacement plan, which we did email out this afternoon. It's a 10-year plan, I believe. So each of these vehicles is on a rotation schedule to be replaced. So the first one is vehicle E3. It's a 2009 Ford Ranger, two-wheel drive, and it's used by the engineers and to survey for the snow cleanup during storms. It has suspension, frame, and bed rot. It's kind of a small, the two-wheel drive doesn't work well because they do use it during storms, and so it's being replaced with an F-150 four-wheel drive, but no plow on this. If you remember, most of the vehicles we've been buying have a plow, and it's a bigger truck, but this is they don't want the plow and they don't want the bigger truck for this, but it will be four-wheel drive, so much more functional. The second vehicle is H11. It's a street sweeper. We have 2 sweepers. We probably should have 3. These are on 15-year rotations. This is a 2009. It's in fair condition, but it's going to be 2 years before we get it if we order it now because of supply chain, and so we're trying to get a jump on it so that we have it when we need it. H23 is the third vehicle. It's to replace a 2008 sidewalk snow blower. We have 3, and we're on 15-year replacement plans and it's just time to replace this. And then number 4 is vehicle W7. It's a 2011 one-ton dump truck with a 1-ton, and we're replacing it with a 1-ton dump truck with a plow. Again, probably won't be delivered until 2023. So the total is $593,000. We voted 2-0 to approve.
Anything additional, Mr. Sanchez?
No, this is pretty much covered. I mean, the supply chain issues are real. We ordered a vehicle right at the town meeting last year, and they tell us that we may be able to use it
Thank you. Any discussion? Frank?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one quick question, John. I know that, in general, we run these, all our vehicles, so they're really past their useful life, so sending them out for rehab or, refurbishment is generally a non-starter. But on the street sweeper, I wonder, have we actually looked at that, to have it refurbished rather than replace?
So, we actually do refurbish them along the way, Frank. These units actually, all the panels replace them at 10 years or less. And what we do with them is, as they get to be that 8 to 10 year, we actually do a lot of work on them to keep them on the road for another 5 years. So we're already in that plan
Okay.
of refurbishing.
Thank you.
David?
John, so we go off the state bid list on these, correct?
That's correct.
And obviously because of the supply chain issues and getting parts, again, the ordering is taking a lot longer. What are you seeing from a pricing standpoint from that? Because again, is this like your regular vehicle where things are going above sticker price now? I mean, how much are we possibly overpaying now for these things and still not getting them for a couple of years compared to previous years?
Well, that is a very good point when it comes to some of the equipment. I mean, we saw an increase on both the sweeper and the trackless, which you have seen in anything you buy, actually, nowadays, not just vehicles. I wouldn't postpone the purchase, speculate that they'll get cheaper. I'm not a gambling person, I don't think they're gonna get any cheaper in the future. But yeah, we're definitely taking a hit on everything that we're buying right now.
Got it, thank you.
Chris?
So with the first vehicle, is the reason that they're going for a truck instead of a 4x4 SUV, which would be cheaper?
Well,
So, Tom, you want to take that?
yeah, well, we have several vehicles we have in the fleet, and the four-wheel SUV would be like an Escape, and we already have an Escape that we use, and it's just not a good vehicle to use. We take a lot of equipment out in the field, so, something with a bed where we can throw shovels, equipment, the SUV is just way too tight. And it's nicer on the inside, and you can see that we're really making a mess of it. So we'd rather prefer a pickup truck that, it's not a crew cab, but an extended cab, that you have the back seat, you can throw equipment and keep it dry, and then in the bed you can throw shovels and picks and whatever else, field stuff we need.
Anything else?
Move to approve?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Excellent.
It's a third.
And a fourth. Brad?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes. That's 13-0-0. Are the two rec department articles being next week, I'm assuming, 7:10, 7:11? Okay, very good. Which brings us to our minutes. So we have minutes from. Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
David?
He didn't want to stay for this. Okay. Steve sent around updated minutes for April 6th. Any further comments on that before we vote?
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay. So April 6 minutes. Brad? Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes, 13-0-0. The April 13th minutes, I think there was one adjustment made since the one that was sent out. It was just clarifying that on the CPA, that the new taxes would be about 1.6 million and 640K would be the potential state match. Any comments other than that?
No, move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Brad? Abstain. Chris?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Sonia?
Abstain.
And David?
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes, that's 10-02, or I'm sorry, 11-02. On the docket for next week, we have the Historical Commission budget, a whole raft of warrant articles, and the revolving / special accounts will also be discussed.
Can I add something there?
Yes, Steve?
So all the subcommittees other than schools will be presenting their warrant articles. So public safety, town hall 1, town hall 2, and also the rec department. So just I published the warrant articles in the agenda. I'll send those out tonight so everybody can review it and just make sure it's complete. As part of that too is the plan to review the revolving accounts. So if Town Hall 1 could talk with John and make sure that he's got those, I know he's got the balances ready, so if he could get those distributed to us, that would be great. And I think after that, it's just a night full of school activities. So on May 4th, we'll do the local education budget, which is Burlington Schools operating and plus the special ed education account. And then we'll have the regional school assessments with Shawsheen and Middlesex and Northern Essex or Essex Tech, excuse me. And then there is one operating budget still outstanding, and that will be next week as well.
What is that?
Historical Commission?
Yeah, Historical Commission.
Steve, don't forget the school capital items. It'll be on May 4th as well.
Yeah, that's right. Those warrant articles. So that's going to probably be a long night. Hopefully not.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just some clarification, Steve, on the revolving accounts, all we're voting on is the spending limits. So the balances, be nice to know, but it's not, there's no actionable item there that I know of.
No, there's not, but it's, we review the school's accounts, and so we should also review the town side. And we have a committee member who wants to get a little bit of an update on those. So I think it's worthwhile to at least see what those are.
And the other thing I had a question on, if anybody knows, it's about the CPA. So it's going to go on the ballot in November, correct? Pardon?
That's on town meeting first.
Well, yeah, okay, assuming, yeah. Correct. Then it goes on the ballot in November, and we'd get an immediate result from the vote off of that ballot. So we'd know by the end of November whether we're in CPA or not. If we're in CPA, when do we get the first tranche of the $1.6 million available to us? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but I can take an action to follow up with Bill.
Yeah, I think it would be useful because if it's available in, could it be available in FY '23?
I think there's some underlying.
Deed transfers to start funding.
Right.
You're not gonna deed transfers. We'll start.
Well, the 1.5% on the taxes could start then conceivably. It could start immediately, right? So
Mr. Chair, I think the first thing that needs to happen is that the committee's got to get established and set up all of this structure.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we got questions about.
So I think it might be useful to know what a best case and a likely case is when those monies would be available. Because we do have warrant articles, which I'm not precasting anything here, but suppose you had something that could be delayed 1 year that is a CPA candidate and then funded that way. And it would be good to know what the availability, best case and likely cases of those monies.
It's conceivable could even be an FY '23 if it's voted.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I think it is possible.
Yeah,
In fact, it would behoove the town to form the committee and move as quickly as possible, because we're burning free cash otherwise.
Right, the sculpture park and historical shed are two obvious.
Exactly.
right.
But
I'll get that information from Bill.
Okay, thank you. Oh, fair enough?
Go ahead, Roger.
yeah, just another comment on that. It might be nice to phase in whatever the percentage is in the first year into tax bills, because,
I don't think you have to, it's immediately available from the monies that are in the,
from the state, yes,
Yeah.
but those are matching monies. The surcharge it has to be paid in some tax year by our residents.
Well, I think the question will be if it's voted yes November, it has to be added on whenever the law says it needs to be added on.
and
I
it's
guess the
immediately
question is, when is
available
that?
I think we should find out exactly, Roger. I'm not so sure that there's a delay on that at all, once we're in it.
Right, I think there are two questions. One is when we can get money from the state, and the other is the money that our
Our $1 million is the most important part, actually.
When does our tax bill go out?
And we don't have to collect it, it's already there. We've been paying it right along.
No, not
We
the
haven't paid it
surcharge.
yet.
Not the surcharge.
No, okay.
1.5%.
I understand. I just would like to double check on this, because I think it could be sooner rather than later.
Steve, I think you have the action item to understand when the tax bills go up and when the state starts shoveling money at us.
Yeah, and the other thing that came to mind was whether the state has to formally accept us into the program.
Okay,
Right.
so a whole
Yeah.
separate timeline question.
You're kicking the head.
What if we're rejected?
Process of composing the mail to Bill now, and I hope to have answers for you for next week.
Thank you.
It'll be my penance for getting absent for tonight's meeting.
All right, do we have anything else for discussion tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Very good.
Second.
All right, anyone opposed? Excellent.
Night.
All right. Go to switch.